Hey everyone, have you ever wondered what's the dividend coverage ratio and how to calculate it? A dividend coverage ratio is the proportion of a company's earnings that are paid out as dividends. It's also referred to as the dividend payout ratio and is an important metric for understanding the sustainability of a company's dividend payments. How to calculate dividend coverage ratio? To do it, you need to divide the company's net income by its total dividends paid. Let's take an example. ABC Company had a net income of $100 and paid out $60 in dividends during the period. The dividend coverage ratio would be 160 or 1.67. This means that the company's net income is 1.67 times greater than its dividend payments, indicating that the dividend is well covered. In general, a higher dividend coverage ratio is better as it shows that a company has more earnings available to pay its dividends. However, there is no perfect dividend coverage ratio, and what is considered good can vary depending on the industry and the company's stage of development. The dividend coverage ratio is an important metric for several reasons. First, it tells you whether a company is able to pay its dividends out of its current earnings. Second, it helps you to compare the sustainability of dividends among different companies. Finally, it's a useful tool for investors who are looking for undervalued stocks that pay a high dividend yield. Several factors can affect a company's dividend coverage ratio. These include the company's profitability, capital expenditures, debt levels, and dividend policy. For example, if a company has a high capital expenditure requirement, this can reduce the amount of earnings available to pay dividends, which in turn can affect the dividend coverage ratio. Similarly, if a company has high debt levels, this can also reduce the amount of earnings available to pay dividends. There are three key applications of the dividend coverage ratio. First, it can be used as a screening tool to identify companies that are most likely to be able to maintain their dividend payments over time. Second, it can be used to compare the sustainability of dividends among different companies within an industry. And third, it can be used by investors who are looking for undervalued stocks that pay a high dividend yield. If a company has a low dividend coverage ratio, this can have several implications. First, it may indicate that the company is at risk of cutting its dividend payments. Second, it may suggest that the company is not generating enough earnings to support its dividend payments, which can lead to financial distress. Finally, a low dividend coverage ratio can cause the stock price to fall as investors sell the stock and move into other investments.